trying to out activate you. So there's no real sense in trying to chase those activations. It's going to be really difficult for them to get to enough to outpace your fleet. It's mostly about those strong, broad arcs and accuracy generation. At least that's from my perspective. Keller might have different advice.
So my answer to this originally was going to be super simple, but Fox kind of stole the thunder on it, and it was going to be something along the lines of, "In a world with gunnery teams, take it." But beyond that, in reality, well, a lot of that is good. Part of this is just a matter of like flying MSU is hard. If you've ever kind of tried to do it, and you're gonna find that formation flying with ships can be very, very difficult. It's one of the things that if you're an old X-Wing player, yeah, there are a lot of people that used to play like 7 or 8 TIE fighters, and playing 7 or 8 TIE fighters all at the same time in X-Wing and making sure that they are in a formation is very, very difficult. You have to plan out your moves, and they kind of can only go in one direction. It's kind of like a phalanx. And MSU is kind of similar in that, when you're flying MSU, you are not locked in, but you are prevented from taking certain angles. So in that sense, you have to think about, okay, well, how am I going to use that against an enemy? And part of that is, like, do I out deploy the person? Can I attack one edge of the MSU? Can I fly in a way where I can attack some things and then blow through the line and then not be attacked anymore? So it's things like this in terms of just like, you have to try and use their formations against them and use their formations to predict where they want to be in 2 or 3 turns and not be there.
Increasingly difficult when the MSU style is like red dice. But yeah, no, it's good advice. Okay, our next question comes from Geek19 from Discord. Can you give a tip about fatherhood? So a little bit about each of us. Whiskey has 2. Or no, I'm sorry. Whiskey has 1
I was
child.
about to fight you.
Killorn has 2, and I have 3. All of varying
I was about
ages.
to fight you. I was about to fight you. I was. Oh my god.
I got it right. Whiskey has 1, Killorn has 2, and I have 3. And so we've been fathers. Killorn's been a father for 5-6 years. Whiskey, Olivia's about to turn 10, right?
Hey! Don't be hey names. Jesus Christ! But yeah,
What?
about to be 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. Baby Whiskey, Mini Whiskey is about to be 10.
Her screen name is Pikachu. All right.
Oh, okay. What's up, Pikachu?
She used to stream with me, and she specifically picked out the name Pikachu. So it is Whiskey and Pikachu.
I like it. Whiskey and Pikachu. Well, Whiskey, do you have any fatherhood tips?
Authentically, just do your best. When I say do your best, I mean like every single day. Do your best. And don't beat yourself up when you fail, because there's going to be plenty of times where you're going to go, ooh, is that one of those things that kids talk about as adults to their counselors? Crap. Yeah, that's my simplest advice. What you got, Fox? Or actually, let's switch over to Kaloran. What you got?
Yeah, I have a son that's 6 in kindergarten, and I have a daughter that's 2. So that's a whole lot of fun because they're both they're both quite boisterous, as it were, and luckily they play well together. But I guess my advice would be to be patient more than you think you want to be. Like, there's gonna be a lot of times where you're gonna be very tired and you're gonna be like, I can't deal with this today, and just kind of take a breath and realize that you're doing all right and it's going to get better, and spend time with your kids, because all they want to do is spend time with you.
They want to spend time with you to the point of you don't want to spend time with you.
Well, I mean,
like, let's be honest here. I don't know how many times I've had to peel my child out from under me when it's nap time or something. I'm just like, please stop. Just, I don't want to be touched.
and
anymore.
like I said, it's tough. It's tough. Like there are not enough hours in the day to do all the things that they want to do, and all the things that you want to do, and all the things that you have to do, and all the things that they have to do. But just like Whiskey said, do your best, and don't give up on yourself and beat yourself up.
All right, so father of three gets to go now. I actually have three pieces of advice because I thought about this one all day after Geek said it. So, specifically for fathers with young children, so this includes Geek. Um, Shout out to you, dog. I know the struggles of having a baby. um, Two things. One, sleep is paramount. All of the development that your baby does happens at night when they sleep. Your a baby circadian rhythm, very very young children's circadian rhythm is different from adult circadian rhythm, so we kind of train ourselves to sleep for 8 hours and then be awake for 16. With young babies, it's actually in multiples of 45 minutes. I don't know if either of y'all knew that, but basically when they're young, they'll sleep, and then when they wake up, they're awake for 45 minutes, and then they should probably go back down to sleep.
Can I add a
And
caveat into your note? When he says sleep is paramount, he did not mean for you.
no. Eventually, what my wife and I did is we slept in like rotations. So I would sleep for 3 hours, and she'd stay up, and then I'd be up for 3 hours, and she would sleep, and that kept both of us sane because then we were both getting 6 hours of sleep a night. So that's another bit of advice that I wasn't intending to share, but yeah, look into young children's circadian rhythms because it's very much different, and your sanity and their development is it's critically like lays in this concept. Number two, for young children, research leaps. There are things called that have recently come to light about early childhood development called leaps, where after and it's actually scheduled after like 3 weeks your baby will go through a leap, and then after 7 weeks your baby will go through a leap. And what's happening during these leaps is their body is dedicating their nutrients and like the fuel to, instead of being physically active, to being mentally active and developing certain concepts such as like depth perception or object permanence, learning faces, facial recognition, pattern recognition, those types of things. So during those, if you research online, look for leaps, early childhood development leaps. Um, what you'll find is your baby basically becomes a different person. I swear, like you'll wake up, and if you don't know about leaps, you'll wake up, you're like, dude, whose baby is this? This baby is freaking like angry all the time, and it's just because they're trying to learn. Like they're trying to learn distances. They're trying to learn your face. They're trying to learn a bunch of different stuff. And it makes you a sane parent when like your baby is just so angry and ornery. And you're like, I don't understand why they're so angry, why they're fussing. It's literally because they're learning how to be in the world. So research that. And then number three, for as they get older, like just overall, remember that like you are the one that basically determines, one, how they view themselves, and two, how they view the world and how it should operate. Like if and that can go down bad roads quickly. If you're constantly trying to push them and make them feel like they're not good enough, or they are like what their efforts are good enough, they're going to grow up to be an adult that doesn't think they're good enough. Or if you're constantly praising them and never pushing their potential or making them realize their potential, all that jazz, they're going to think that they're the bee's knees, and then the real world's just going to slap them upside the head. Like a good father presents a balanced approach to making someone have a legitimate, honest introspection and understand who they are. If you've ever been to like the bank or the DMV and you've looked at somebody just flipping out and wondering what's wrong with them, it's because they didn't have a father to like properly give them this understanding of introspection and where they sit in the world and how real things are, or how like realistic interpretations of yourself and your emotions and all that jazz. That's
Secondary
really real. And
secondary
huh?
caveat. Secondary caveat. Parent. I grew up without a
Parent.
dad, so a parent didn't teach them.
Yeah, be there, be present. Yeah, so those are my big three. I mean, Yeah, I'm really big on this stuff. So,
I mean, you
uh,
got 3
yeah,
kids. If you weren't big on it, then we'd have issues.
there'd be questions. Yeah.
Or like
So,
that's
The whole topic of this podcast changed from Armada to parenting. It's
the
the
parent
kind
to
of
the,
wild.
re-
yeah, it's a different podcast now.
real damn fast. Welcome
Sorry,
to the
everybody
Dad
wanting to listen
Podcast.
to everyone wanting to listen to Armada news, like they're getting the real deal on leaps and babies.
No, but for leaps, man, dude, leaps. Sincerely,
It's critical, right?
be
I've
prepared.
got I've got one last thing on the fatherhood thing is remember children guys, don't teach your children to play CIS.
Lord.
Shots fired. Moving on to the next
Lord.
question. This one's coming from Taserface on the Discord. Question for the class: how do you keep from tilting after you've made a mistake, especially early, and you have to stare at it for the remaining 2 hours in the round? We're gonna go ahead and start swinging with who do we swing with first last time?
You.
Me? We'll give it to Paul.
Yeah, you started. Okay.
All right, so I did this today in my game. I made a mistake and then I had to stare at it and deal with it for the next 2 hours. And I guess the thing that I would say is just realize that there's a lot of game left to be played, and one mistake at the beginning, while it may affect the outcome, doesn't necessarily preclude you from having some level of success later on. And so don't deprive yourself of the game that came there to have because you made one mistake. Think about it and say, okay, I'm not going to do that next time. But I'm going to enjoy the game that I have now, but I'm not going to make that mistake next time. And how do I figure out how I don't make that mistake next time? And if you could do that, then you're going to get better as an Armada player. And I guess the other thing is, if you don't, you're in danger of always playing the same game every time and never learning. And we've all met people that play games like that they don't ever seem to learn and they don't ever seem to get better because it's never their fault. So acknowledge the fact that, yeah, I made a mistake, but I'm going to do better. And I guess that applies in more than just Armada, that plays in life too. So, Fox, what you got?
I've described this on the podcast before, I think, but whenever I make a huge mistake, I flip to prevent myself from tilting. I flip out. No, I'm just kidding. I flip my mindset to I look at my opponent and I kind of see how they're playing and how they react to what I'm giving them essentially, and I try to appreciate their play. This is kind of it helps in real life too, but like it's really easy in competition to get caught up in like, I want to do well, I want to be the best, and then you get really tilted when things don't go your way. But if you sit there and go, you know what, there's a guy across the table trying to do the exact same thing, and if you sit there and appreciate their movements and appreciate their choices, and I sometimes I outwardly vocally compliment them, to let them know, like, hey, I recognize your good play. It makes me feel good. And I get over that mentality and that emotional burden really quickly. Even though I lose sometimes, um, like being able to like give someone that emotional boost and like, it helps you work your way through it.
And along those lines, I would like to add one more thing is your opponent's going to make mistakes too. So, especially when you're in a kind of I don't want to know that I want to say hardcore, but when you're in a high level play type of situation and your opponent makes a mistake, make sure that you take advantage of that yourself. But don't rub it in their face. Like you wouldn't want your mistake rubbed in your face. Don't rub their mistake in theirs. I mean, I've had plenty of games where at the end of the game, there people will say, "Well, I made a mistake here," and then we have a conversation about how they could have done better, or what could have happened, or what to do differently the next time. And like I've seen too many people where like in games, and like I've played plenty of 40K games where they're like, "Oh, you suck and you shouldn't have done that," and it's like that just makes everything worse. It makes it so much easier to tilt. So don't make other people tilted either.
So, well, they're giving wonderful advice. Foxtrot, that noise flipped the table. full tilt, full send, yeetus, deletus. But in all seriousness, um, I treat it like I treat really just about anything else personally, which is I'm going to make mistakes in life. These things happen. It's not about the mistake that I made. It's about how do I recover from it? How do I figure it out? I don't have time to start losing my mind. I need to take that time, take that energy, and take that effort into making my next choice to try to recover from it. And sometimes it's just not recoverable, and then on those instances, I just accept it. It is what it is. I made a mistake. It cost me the game. Now, if it's dice, I just have to breathe real hard and a lot because when dice don't roll right, it makes me mad. But anyways, moving on to the next question.
Dice
And
didn't roll right. You played wrong in the first place.
we've been over this one. That was 2 episodes ago. I knew that was coming back. So this one's coming from. How the heck do I pronounce that? Do I say the name in parentheses or do I say the? You know what? I'm a full sin. Jajarval.
JJ Var.
The-
JJ Varl.
JJ Var.
Call him JJ.
JJ Javarval. It's Captain Marvel. JJ Varvel. Hopes and wishes for RR2 that would see game growth, but not completely up in the balance. What? I am reading that horribly. Paul, take over.
He's talking about the idea of a potential rapid reinforcements 2. So we got rapid reinforcements 1, and it had like Deltakin and the Imperial Venator and things like that. So he's talking about what we might like to see going forward in a potential rapid reinforcements 2. And I guess the one thing that I would very much like to see is
Wait. The question is, what does it need, not what do we want? I think that's an important key to that
okay. Well,
question.
why don't you go for it? Answer that real quick, and then I'll jump in with my thought.
Oh, I wasn't ready to go. I was just trying to. Okay. Um, I think so. What a faction. What? So I guess I'll start with separatists since I'm so deep in them now. What separatists want is another cheap activation, and particularly a black dice delivery system. I think what they need, as far as a ship is concerned, is a um, a redundant token medium ship. And I say that because there's a lot of cool things that can be done with the Munificent, but like there's an issue with the Munificent only having X amount of tokens, and then it's pigeonholed into really one. Like you basically have to take the Star Frigate, which is the problem. The comms frigate is just not cutting it right now competitively. And so if we had a redundant token medium ship where you don't need ECM necessarily as much, uh, I think you start to see some interesting builds. Maybe not even as cheap. Like it doesn't need to be as cheap as a Munificent, and it could even be a black dice medium ship. That kind of thing. But I think that's what the CIS needs as far as a ship is concerned. A squad, I don't. We definitely don't need strategic in there. I think escort is neat, but I don't think you need it. I think it should be an escort ace, definitely not a generic. Um,
I was going to say they need another good generic. So that was where I was about to go with it. Is I think that CIS needs a good generic and or not sorry a new good ace, and I think that ace should have a way to deliver raid. And because I don't think you want a generic that can deliver raid because I think that changes how some of the CIS admirals work, particularly Dooku and TF. But if you had one squad that could deliver raid, I think that makes TF a takeable admiral.
like honestly, gauntlet fighters, even at their price point, are okay in CIS. Like honestly, they are. Um, so I see what you're saying. Yeah, like with the assault keyword, I could see that.
Yeah, but like I said, I think that you like I think that you want to be careful with it. Like, I think it would be fun to have something like, pull over like fire sprays or something, because they already exist in a real world. I'd really like to see a Sith infiltrator, but I mean that's going to take more than a rapid reinforcements kind of deal. But I think that that's kind of where they want to be. They want to have some kind of better ace, because like I feel like that's where they kind of fall down. Like the generics, as we've talked about a lot in CIS, are very very good and very very dangerous, but their
for
ace
sure.
play is a little bit lacking. And conversely, in Gar, I feel like they like I don't know that Gar really needs much in the way of squadrons, but what I do feel like Gar needs some kind of maneuverable large, because or more maneuverable than they've got, because like right now Vendors are I honestly feel like everything in the Gar faction bows down to the fact that Peltas are amazing and the rest of it's just kind of meh. And so people have leaned into the Peltas to an extreme degree, and I think that that makes the rest of the faction just not as fun.
I think they need a cheap kiter. I think is what they
Yeah,
need.
I mean, in terms of like a rapid reinforcements type of deal, like putting in the Architans
I think
almost
so.
straight from the Imperials, I think would make them a lot more fun to play. I think something
Yeah.
along those lines would be
If you
really really
if you
good.
take out the contain and make it a
Yeah.
salvo or something like that could be a good.
And man,
Yeah,
I would love for in terms of going for the the Civil War factions. I don't really think that they need a lot. I really don't think they need much in the way of squadrons. But man, I would love to see like an Imperial Recusant. I think that that would be, even if it
oh
had
my
like a
god.
really weird upgrade suite. I think that having that as an Imperial ship could change kind of like how Imperials play and get them back into like a black dice type of thing, which I think that would be
It,
really fun.
it will be a weird hybrid between the Imperial Venator and a Simoon for sure. So I don't know, you'd have to be careful with how that you'd probably have to
Yeah,
do
like I
something
said,
similar like they did with the
that
Providence,
that
where it
was my
looks
off the
different.
wall. Yeah, but that was my off
Yeah.
the wall kind of thought. Is like if you did something like the Providence where you're like,
It's
making it.
C2 and yeah.
Yeah, but I think that it'd be kind of cool to have something along those lines. Like those
Yeah.
arcs in an Imperial fleet would be just absolutely off the wall wild.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for Rebels, honestly, I think oh man, I don't think you
Either a
do
Rebel
like
Quasar or a Rebel Muni, one of the two.
see, well, I was gonna say Rebel Muni, but I think that kills the assault frigate,
It
honestly.
does. It does.
So I wouldn't want to do that. And a quasar, I don't think. Well, I think that might move rebels away from being so heavy in rogues. So I could see that. Like that way, they're able to push for a whole lot cheaper. Like that's fine, I guess. I definitely think a medium ship. I think a medium ship is what they need. Um, so yeah, that's where I sit.
This is why I love having like two people who have played this game for literal years at this point and attend the major tournaments. Because the only opinion I really had was just finish CIS and finish Gar. Like it's the common synopsis that they're both missing something. It's just one thing. So thank you for explaining that so wonderfully. Moving on to the next question from Dreadlord Loki. Dreadlord Loki. Does he have dreadlocks? Is it a dreaded version of Loki? That's the real question here. What is your greatest weakness as an Armada player? I'm going to start off on this one. Gar. Done. Fox.
That's fair. Yeah.
Isn't that like your
Um,
whole Armada experience?
that's his
Yes.
weakness. That's his weakness. That's his weakness. Um, let's see. I'm gonna do the whole like job interview style of answer and say that
All right, moving on to
my
Kalorn.
my greatest strength in Armada also is my greatest weakness. That I very much analyze a lot in different possibilities, and I lean on averages. And my greatest weakness is when those averages don't come up, or someone who does something that's unpredictable, like very, very unpredictable, like suicidally unpredictable. That's been a big weakness of mine because like everyone should, I assume that my opponent has a high level of competency. And when they do something that's very out of line or out of rank for what a standard player would do, it makes me kind of short circuit because what ends up happening is that ends up being a really good play because it throws me off kilter. So I think that's probably my biggest weakness is I have a hard time reacting to surprises.
I think your other hard weakness is staring at butts. Anyways, Paul, what you got?
Wow,
Man, he went there. He went there.
he really
I
did.
went for it. I'm
Uh,
full send.
uh, I would say that my biggest weakness in Armada is honestly having an exit strategy after the clash. Is I feel like I'm very good at setting up the initial engagement, but I'm not as good as thinking it through if everything doesn't go perfectly according to plan and I just win outright. And like today, I was trying to exit with um, my MC80, and I ended up double arced when I didn't think I was going to be, and it just ended up killing my MC80, which doesn't often die. So yeah, like I said, I think one of the ways that I've used to kind of mitigate that particular weakness is delaying engagement till very late in the game. So I don't know. I think that kind of like that post initial clash gameplay is where my biggest weakness in Armada is.
Fair enough. My answer still maintains. Really, when I say Gar, it's really just an endurance thing because I got to get more games under my belt. But is Gar? Somebody has a way to simplify Gar. Please email me. Pretty please, with the cherry on top. Anyways, moving on to James Miracle from Facebook. What is your favorite ship and why? Build structure, ease of use, just a fanboy, over the design, etc., etc., and more, and more, and more. Corn, what you got?
This is absolutely the easiest question to answer for me, and it goes back to I was a huge giant nerd in like middle school and read the Rogue Squadron books like constantly, and I absolutely adore what Michael Stackpole called the Imp Star Deuce, the Imperial Star Destroyer Mark II, and it's such a well balanced ship. It's iconic. It's beautiful. It has everything that you want with guns. It's got starfighters. It's got it all. And I play Armada because of Imperial Star Destroyers. Kind of full stop. Now there are aspects of Armada that I love, and I play other factions and stuff. But the reason I got into Armada is because it had Imperial Star Destroyers. Done.
Fox?
I've said this before on the podcast, and I'm going to stand by it. The Munificent, I think it's an absolutely elegant ship. I think it's an MSU all packaged in one. I love its upgrade suite, the amount of things you can do with it. I love that it's speed 2 and it doesn't care. I love that it's so easy to double arc with. I love everything about it. It's the fact that the upgrade choices are so easy to make too, depending on what you want to do with the build. It's so nice, and I can't imagine a separatist fleet that I would be making um, without one. I mean, I've made a bunch, but like it, I just love to fly them so much. So that's
I
me.
will say that the models that were initially made by FFG of the CIS fleets are the best looking models
Oh,
in
dude,
Armada,
yes, for
like hands
sure.
down.
Yeah.
I will definitely go with the Superstar Destroyer. That is out just, huh? It big. It mean. It look at you and go pew 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 and everything's go boom boom boom.
She
I
got
love it.
thick with 3 C's.
And she's thick. Every time I see it, I call her Thickums. Anyways, moving on to the next question from Michael Lisley on Facebook. Oh, perfect timing, actually. Are SSD fleets after 1.5 just fun? Memes? Boogeymen? Sacrificial? Gatekeepers? Or do y'all think we actually see one do well at Worlds? I thought
Isn't it
we've actually
Lissy?
had this conversation recently.
We have had this, and isn't it Lissy? Am I pronouncing that right, Fox?
It's Lissy. It's Lissy. Yeah.
Did I say that wrong? My apologies if I said that wrong.
You said Lisley. Yeah.
I said Lisley? How did I get extra L in
I,
there? Go ahead.
we have had this conversation several times, and I'm going to stand by the fact that I think the SSD is a viable ship. Is it going to win? I don't know, but there's a lot of elements in Armada that have more to do with the person playing than the ships that they're playing. And I think that the SSD is perfectly capable of winning games and winning tournaments. Will it win the worlds? I don't know. Depends on who decides to take it. Is it possible that somebody will do well with an SSD at worlds? Absolutely. That's all I got. What do you got,
Fox.
Fox?
Oh, got it. Sorry, I didn't realize that was my time to go. Are SSD fleets after 1.5 just fun memes? They're not a fun meme. They're actually really competitive. Are they boogeymen? Yes. You should be worried about them, and you should be worried that they'll pop up at a tournament near you. Sacrificial gatekeepers? I wouldn't use the term sacrificial. I do think they're gatekeepers. I think people, when you're fleet building, you have to consider them. You have to. If you're not thinking about an SSD potentially popping up in your meta and you're building really flimsy fleets, something bad's going to happen. Do I think we'll see one do well at Worlds? I think the operative word there is well. What does that mean? Get to day 2 of Worlds proper? Maybe. I think that's definitely possible. Get to top 8, I don't see it. I think once you get into the top 20, those, or the top whatever it ends up being on day 2, I think all those fleets will have considered and have answers for what the SSD brings and are good enough players to kind of mitigate or to take advantage of what the SSD isn't great at. I don't see an SSD winning Worlds, but I definitely think it could do well. I definitely think it could do well. So
You are literally making me sit here and say I want to go to Worlds and play an SSD right now and prove you wrong.
yeah, well, you won't win. So just gonna say that.
There's the gauntlet challenge.
Challenge
I
accepted.
was about to say challenge has been thrown down.
Bring your kids, I guess.
Yeah. So our fatherhood answers go out the door so I can play the SSD.
All right, next question from Matthew Chambers on Facebook. What ship or squadron do you think has the biggest need for a point rebalance? Fox. Y'all know my answer. It's Gar, like always. Fox.
That's interesting. Man, so I had trouble with this one, and I think my answer would have to be a victory. I think the Victory Star Destroyer needs a point rebalance, and I think because no one takes it as is, and and I think if you said something like an interdictor, they're already really strong. It's been proven that they're really strong objective manipulators. And so I think they actually do pay for themselves to a degree if you build around them right. But victories, we've seen successful victory Star Destroyer fleets so few and far between. And it has to do with the fact that they don't get specialized until you sink about 140 points in them. So yeah, I think that needs to, especially with the acclimator and the muni being out now, I think that needs to get readdressed for sure.
I definitely was going to say victories as well. I think that's the kind of the low hanging fruit. But I'm going to take a unconventional approach here, and I'm going to say that Han Solo as a squadron is the worst squadron in needs of a points rebalance. I think that the fact that Lando is significantly cheaper than Han Solo is absolutely criminal, and that I don't believe that Han Solo's ability. I think it's good. It's not worth the points increase from Lando. So either Lando needs to go up to Han's value, which I don't think is right. But I do think that Han needs to come down.
Fair enough. And that actually concludes the community Q&A. If you didn't get a question in, we'll probably will be doing another one eventually. But make sure that you get
Yeah,
them in either on. Go ahead.
I actually have shout outs about that because we got a ton of awesome responses. So I want to give shout outs to specific individuals because I'm holding on to your prompts, and some of the things that y'all mentioned are basically entire episode worthy. So Kulki, Morcanic, Shane McMichael on Facebook, Xantos, Mr. Frisky, all of you guys had spectacular prompts to the point where I've got them saved and tucked away. We are going to come back to y'all's suggestions. They were very, very good, but they're so good they really didn't have less than 5 minute responses, and so I wanted to hold on to them and like to talk about them and maybe even revisit some of the ones that we've already talked about at some point to see if our opinions have changed. But thank you guys for we got so many awesome responses. Really appreciate you guys reaching out with all of these for real. It was really cool to see.
And once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And like I said, if you want to, like, we will be doing another one at some point. So make sure you're in the Discord, make sure you're on the Facebook, make sure you're keeping up and reaching out, and who knows, we'll get you on here someday, somehow. Moving on to my favorite segment, which is the Hot Take 29, because these mongrels, Double XL edition, Pitch Black. I can't even think of any more jokes to even run with that Magnum edition. There we go. Last one. Got it. All right. And this one comes from Bodie on the Discord. Aside from Wat Tambor, all of the Separatist officers are really bad when compared to the other factions. Almost every one of them has a downside that's barely worth the minimal upsides they provide. And if there were any other options, none of the current ones would be played. Jesus, that is a long hot take. Kalorn.
This is spicy hot, because I honestly think that the separatist officers, at least Tickies, Rune, and Watt, are three of the best officers in the game, hands down. I think that any of the other factions would literally eat their own young to have those in their faction. Yeah, the rest of them, yeah, I can get on board. Most of the rest of them, with the possible exception of Shumai, are pretty poor. But any faction that has Tickies and Rune and a Watt in it, I think you cannot make this statement.
Fox, he's already come to your defense, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm over in the corner steaming right now. Oh my goodness gracious. How could someone say this? Yeah, Wat Tambor is great and all that, but you've got what I consider to be the best officer in the game, Rune Hako. Yeah, I said it. Fight me about it. Tickies is incredible. Shumai, there are so many ships that would love Shumai on their ship. TI-99 does so much for Separatist squadron play. Pascal Argente hasn't really had an awakening moment yet, but there are people that are working on it right now, and I think Double Dial on the back end of the game is incredible. This is unreal. There is one officer that's awful, and it's Sandhill. And dude, I'm I'm upset. I'm upset that someone said this about separatists because they have some of the best officers. Like, this is unreal to me. I am livid.
If you listen closely, you can hear the tears falling from his face as he speaks. No? Okay, moving on. This one's coming from.
Do we have like a sound effect we should play? I don't know what much I've done.
You know, I am tempted to set up.
Hold on, whiskey.
Wait,
before we get going,
holding.
There is another topic that we must discuss.
Oh Lord Jesus Christ!
This wasn't on the agenda.
This was not on the agenda,
folks. Not on the agenda. This you can say thank you to your boy Forminder for this one, guys.
Oh no!
I think that in Armada, the fact that you win or lose should be the primary consideration to where you fall on the win-loss chart for Swiss pairings. And that The second step down from that should be your should be the tournament points that you earn, but winning and losing should take precedence. And because I feel like there's so many times that you end up at a tournament where you won all 3 games, but somebody who didn't wins the tournament.
Bro, are you serious right now? You're gonna come at me with this? Is Forminder saying this because he knows how many times this has happened to me? Did Forminder put you up to this?
You can hear his psyche breaking as he
Bro,
says this. Right? You can, Jesus Christ. I think you broke Fox. Oh my God.
I did. It was great.
Bro, I went 6-0 at LSO. Like, get out of here. Oh, dude. I can't believe this was said on the podcast. Absolutely not. No. This is a game that relies on margin of victory, and I'm willing to admit it, but I'm still a freaking badass because I went 6-0 at LSO. So suck
Fox,
it, haters.
Did you deserve to win LSO, or did I deserve to win LSO?
You don't want to go there. You don't, because you don't.
Hold on. Go back to your corners, gentlemen. Go back to your corners.
Oh, son. Okay. All right. What is this? Blindsided. Oh, no. I deserve to win LSO. I'm going to say it. That's my hot take.
At any rate, I don't agree with any of the things that I just said. Forminder put me up to that. I wanted to get a rise out of Fox. It was fantastic.
I mean, Forminder's about to go 2 for 2 because this next question definitely is probably going to rustle some jimmies here. Forminder, what's the second question? Fox, you might as well unmute. I just want to hear the frothing anger coming out of your mouth when I finish this question.
One made me smile. This one made me smile, so yeah. Go ahead.
Is it true that the favored burger of choice for the crew is Whataburger?
Okay, so number one, Kellorn can attest to this. I have called him in a drive-through at Whataburger more than any other time of like a specific event in my life. Like, it is more often I am just waiting for 40 minutes in a freaking Whataburger drive-through, and I'm like, you know what? I've got nothing else to do. Let me call my bud Paul, and then we have a conversation. And like, he has no idea I'm in a drive-through until like 35 minutes in the conversation. Like, bro, Whataburger sucks. Whoever is out there thinking that Whataburger is great.
Wait. Hold on. Because that wasn't the question. You.
The answer is no. The answer to the question is no. It is not the most favored burger of choice of the crew. It is not, because it sucks.
Wait, how can you speak for everybody, Kalorn? What do you have to say?
I'm speaking for everybody.
There are a number of caveats here.
Bro, caveats.
Wait, hold on. Before you start, are all your windows and doors locked firmly? Because he might come to your house. I'm just saying.
Okay, look. There are a number of caveats here. Are we talking about fast food burgers? Are we talking about fast casual burgers? Are we talking about burgers that you have sitting down at a restaurant? If I'm going to say my favorite hamburger of any of them, I'm going to go and I want a burger, and it's going to be the best actual burger in my hand to eat. I'm going to go to Texas Roadhouse and have a hamburger there because their meat and their bun and the bread is amazing. Hands down. In terms of fast food restaurants, most fast food hamburgers are garbage. And so the only fast food hamburger that I particularly will want to eat on any given occasion is the patty melt at Whataburger, which is why I like to go to Whataburger. It does not. Go away. This is my soapbox. You can go over to your own.
Cool. If Kalorn comes up missing over the next few days, you know what happened. Just so y'all know.
If we're talking about fast casual, now Fox is a GM at a fast casual restaurant called Mighty Fine. They have fantastic food. I would rather have a Five Guys burger than a Mighty Fine burger, but if I want the dining experience and the sides and the shake and everything, then I'm going to go to Mighty Fine, because that experience, while the burger might not be quite as good as Five Guys, the whole experience is better. So there you have it. That is my thought on hamburgers. Boom.
Stop doxing yourselves. Jesus Christ. Do we need to do a security class? Like,
Too
God.
late. It's too
Holy
late. Everyone knows where we are.
So, mine. Honestly, no. If you would have caught me 3 years ago, the answer would have been yes. But that's also because I left the state at a young age, and the state that I went to did not have Whataburger. They had every other fast food joint under the sun, but no Whataburger. Who'd have thunk? Anyways, when I came back, yeah, I really enjoyed Whataburger. But then I started eating at a joint out here called P. Terry's, and I really love their burger. Like, it's just...
Oh my god.
I enjoy the burger.
That is the worst take. That is the worst take. Oh,
This might be the thing that tears us apart.
It
This
might,
might be
like-
it.
Fox. I loathe P. Terry's.
Why do you loathe pizza? Wait, why? Why
They're
though?
nasty fries. Like P. Terry's is.
Ugh.
But what about the burger? What about the? We're talking about the burger.
The
And
burger
actually,
is
I
so
enjoy their
forgettable. I
fries.
can't even remember what it tastes like.
I can say that about many a burger. I can say that about many a fast food in general.
I don't know. I've had some memorable Taco Bell experiences, but
Not in a
not
good way.
burgers, though.
Not in a good way.
that had nothing to do with the food. So. Yikes!
All right, moving on to the next question from.
Most dangerous location in fast food is a Taco Bell bathroom.
Next question is coming from Santos on Discord. Who's the better Armada player between the hosts? Whiskey can decide, or best and worst factions. Who's the better Armada player? So I need to hear y'all's arguments for why you think you're the better Armada player. Fox?
I'm still partially triggered from the secret Formender take. So I don't even want to speak to this right now. Holy guacamole!
He sent me a DM with that today, and I was like, I gotta do it, man. That's gonna be fantastic.
He's been keeping track of my win-loss record during the Texas series this whole time. Good
I would not put
Lord.
it past him.
Yeah, just to troll somebody? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, in terms of who's the better player, I think there are some aspects to that. I think that the difference, at least between Fox and I, is pretty thin. I personally think that I am a slightly better list builder and squad player, and I think that Fox is a better overall ship player, and in terms of like maneuvering and in-game tactics. And I think that probably gives him the edge just a little bit in terms of who's the better player, but I really, we have played a lot of games. We've split them very, very evenly between the two of us, so I don't think that there is a dramatic difference in terms of who's the better player.
Boo! Take the gloves off. Take the gloves off. Fox?
Yeah, I mean,
Are you about to do the same thing?
what? No, I was just gonna say yeah and over and over again, but you kind of ruined my delivery there. So
It's funny because Fox and I have actually had this conversation before, and that was pretty much the gist of the conversation.
So I think the biggest difference between the two of us, honestly, is I have spent the past 2.5 years making what everyone called just absolute jank and garbage work and doing very, very well with it. I think that's I think if I'm going to pat myself on the back, and I think Kalorn during that exact same time period has won. Period. Like locally, he's won so many store tournaments, and you won like 3 out of the 4 Texas Open tournaments or whatever it was last year. Like, and I didn't attend 3 out of the 4 of them, so I'm not gonna harp on that for too long. But I honestly think we're just different. Like, I'm not big on ranking myself above other people. I know what I know, and I know I'm a good player, and I don't need to prove it. I think that's really the end of it for me. So Kellern's a great player. Obviously, he's won plenty of tournaments in against players that are freaking amazing here in Texas. So I don't need to defend him. He's got the
I,
resume to speak for himself. So
I also think that it comes down to we play differently. Like, you like I am much more apt to take some big ship with big dice pools and surround it with a bunch of squads and and go out there and smash some people. And you are much more likely to paper cut people to death.
yeah. So
Z-
there's a playstyle difference there too. So
Xantos, I see what you were trying to do. And if this was a different podcast, you might have been successful, but the we're all way too nice. Like I really wouldn't be able to pick between the two, honestly. But they raise both very valid arguments and very valid statements. We should do a live stream match with you two on it. That'll be fun.
there's actually I think there's several online.
Yeah, there are several.
Jesus Christ!
We can do more.
Yeah, I was about to
Maybe
say,
we'll do one Fox with the listeners choosing our fleets or something.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Ooh,
Ooh, y'all get to fly
that would
there.
be good.
That would
Or I
be,
play your fleet and you play mine.
Oh, that would be real bad.
that would be hilarious.
I do not think that would end well for me.
All right, and last questions going over to the doctor. ISDs are pizza slices, but what type of pizza is each ISD a variant?
Look, there's only one that I could think of when I saw this question, and clearly the ISD one has pineapple on it. That's all
I'm so glad you said that. I agree 100. The ISD one has is pineapple and onion and olive and it it's good if you're ready for it, but on an average day it's just not what you're going for, honestly. I think the kuwat is a meat lovers.
I kind of feel like you can just go like the ISD2 is just like a pepperoni or a cheese. It's kind
Agreed.
of the
Yep.
vanilla option. It's good, but
Yeah.
it's your kind of filler pizza. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, if you throw a pizza party, like what are 70% of all the people going to pick? It's the pepperoni pizza. Like ISD2 has got
Yeah,
to be the
no.
pepperoni pizza.
And then
Yeah.
and then the Simoon, like we'll say that's like the supreme.
I think a Simoon is a calzone. I think it's
Oh, okay, I got you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
I think it's just its own. I think you have to literally think totally differently about how you're approaching playing an ISD, playing an ISD if you're playing a Simoon. I think it's got no sauce on it, so you have to put an officer on it so you can make sure it has sauce. Like so I don't know, man. It's tough.
That I I have no
He has no idea what I'm talking about
words.
because he's never flown Imperials. So
I have I know, it's not even about the flying Imperials. It's just about the descriptions, just in general. I'm just like, who the hell is
We were like
eating
in
a
sync
pineapple?
too. Like we knew exactly
I
where we
still-
were going
Yeah.
with all of it. It was
I still
amazing.
have
We did not
questions.
plan that out, by the way. We
I
did
still
not
have
plan that
questions
out.
on who the hell is eating a pineapple, olive, and onion pizza. Who?
dude, it's honestly, if you're in the mood for it, it's good. Like it's a really sweet.
I'm not-
It's a nice pizza.
I mean, I'm going to call that heresy, but I mean, I agree that the ISD one is that.
I'm not judging anybody if they like it. I mean, do you, boo boo? I'm not one of those freaking pineapple on pizzas, the sin on earth. But it's still that just sounds like, all right.
It's great.
And to wrap it up, I'm actually going to throw it back over to Kalorn to speak on the Polish Masters a little bit, and then we're going to wrap it up and get the heck out of here.
Yeah, so the Polish Masters are this weekend. They're being played. I think it's in Krakow. Is that right? I think that sounds right.
That's where it's been in the past. Yeah.
So I think so they're going to have a big old tournament there. I know that there's a whole bunch of people coming that have Worlds tickets and are looking forward to go to Worlds. So I'm looking forward to seeing kind of what happens at this tournament. There is going to be a stream. If I can find the link for it, I will add it to the show notes. But I'm looking forward to what people are going to play here because I think it's going to be indicative of what people are going to plan on taking to Worlds from Europe. And I think that's going to at least be a large portion of what the meta is. So I'm expecting, MSUs, I'm expecting German Sloan, I'm expecting, some of these kind of attrition Gar fleets that we've been seeing in Vassal World Cup. So I'm here to see it. Oh, and Martuk, because Martuk is everywhere apparently. Dude, dude breeds like a rabbit.
God damn, it's everywhere and everybody's mama. Anyways, that wraps up our show for tonight. Thank you to the community. Really, we appreciate it. It's kind of wild that this like random car ride of an idea has gained such traction, and I hope that it continues this way because we got something here. Armada's here to stay. There are no funeral proceedings. So, thank you, community. Again, we will be doing another one. Episode 60, I assume. Well, actually, sorry, episode 59. No, nothing.
Sure.
I'm
You
sure
want
we're
me to
gonna
write
do
the
it
schedule?
before then, but
I can write the schedule for the year if you want.
Oh Lord Jesus!
I will say one more thing. We're gonna this week we'll pass 10,000 listens to the podcast. We're right on the cusp of it, so it's been really great to have you guys listening to us, and you've listened to us 10,000 times collectively. So thank you very much, and we appreciate you guys as much as hopefully you guys appreciate us.
And that concludes tonight's episode. Like always, fly safe.